let's do it.
Okay.
Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome. My name is BJ. I will be your instructor tonight, along with Colin, who also is here. He will be your instructors for tonight. We're going to be talking about new refereeing. Now, 900 people were invited to this webinar, but I think we have 8 who actually showed up. So it's going to be a fairly small group. So we can use our microphone. If all of a sudden 850 other people show up, maybe we switch off the microphones. But if you have a question, just feel free to ask. Turn your microphone on and ask, or you can ask in the chat. Colin will be monitoring that as well. We're going to be going for like an hour and a half, talking about a lot of new refereeing stuff. And then we're going to sprinkle in some AR stuff in there as well. So I guess just to start, and we can do this part in the chat. Let me know if you have or have not refereed a game before. You don't have to just say I have or I haven't. That's fine. Just to see the type of people we have here in our class tonight. If we're all brand new or if we have some that have a little bit more experience. So I see a couple haves. Oh, first game is this weekend. Okay, good, good. All right, well, hopefully this will be, so for some of you who have also sat through some of our classes before, some of this will be a refresher. There's definitely also new material here tonight, even if you've refereed for some time, done some other games before. So with that, let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. We'll dive into the presentation, which will consist of a lot of video clips. And the way that I've got this organized tonight is basically as if we're going to walk through a game. So when we start the game or before we start the game, what are we doing at the field? Things like that, all the way through the kickoff and then how we make certain signal calls and stuff like that. So just kind of walking our way through what ultimately would be a game. And for that, let's go ahead and start this presentation. So our plan for tonight, like I said, what we do as referees essentially, and then how we communicate with the other ARs, because in the chat, if everything is assigned properly, how many teams are on the field? If everything is assigned properly. So I see Matt holding up his finger. Yeah, 3, right? You have the 2 teams that are playing, but the referee team. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we communicate as a crew here tonight as well. If we get time, we will go to offside, but we'll definitely leave time for Q&A as well. So let's talk first of all, when do we arrive at the field? How many minutes before the game should we arrive at the field? As a rule of thumb, what do you think?
30.
Yeah, about 30 minutes. Now, you might have some assigners that say 15 is fine. 15 is fine if that's what the assigner says, but don't let it be like 10 because you have a lot to do in 10 minutes. If you want to start that game on time. And if you have an 8 o'clock game, the people who have the 4 o'clock game will thank you for starting the game on time, probably too. So, yeah, so we want to get there about 30 minutes beforehand. When we're there, we're going to walk through our pregame and we'll talk about what we need to talk about in a pregame. I want to start by playing this clip because there's one thing that has to be done before we can start the game. And they kind of mention it here in the clip. So let's take a listen.
Expecting the field, when we get to the goal, there are a few things we're looking for. First and foremost, for safety, we want to look for weights. Some goals will be staked. Most goals you'll see sandbags. We need to make sure there's weight on the goals, preferably both sides, to stop it from coming up during the game, from blowing over, from moving when a player hits it, from when the ball hits it. That's the most important thing. With all the things that can be wrong with the field, not straight lines, a little bit of not grassy areas, no corner flags, we can start the game with those. If the goals are not weighted, we cannot start the game. Other things that we're looking at when we're inspecting the goal is the net. We want to make sure there are no holes. Pay special attention to where the net matches the goalpost or the crossbar. these are the places where the ball might be in the goal and leave the goal, and you might get it wrong. It can come in from either side. If you can't fix these, if you don't have zip ties with you, if there aren't extra little knobs laying around for you to fix it with, talk to the home coach, talk to the home association so we can get these fixed. You can use tape, you can use whatever, but these are the places to pay especially close attention, because this is where we can make game-changing mistakes. The only other thing we really are looking at with the goal is the position of the goal. In relationship to the line, we need the back of the post to be on the back of the line. Otherwise, if we have an extra inch of line back here, we could theoretically have a ball pinned to the inside of the goalpost that is still in the field of play. We don't want that to happen. So when you're lining it up, make sure it's not the front of the post on the front of the line, back of the post anywhere. You need the back of the post on the back of the line.
All right, so the audio wasn't spectacular there, but what is the number one thing with safety and the goals that we have to make sure it takes place?
The weights.
The weights, exactly. We have to have anchors. And you heard what he said. If we don't have the anchors on the goal, we cannot play the game. Or we cannot officiate the game, is probably a better way to say it. Some goals you'll see, they'll say on the bar, anchored to 100 pounds or whatever. That's fine. But now, in our game, let's say this particular goal didn't have sandbags there. So what can we do? Hey, coach, can we get a couple players' bags like Colin just put in the chat? Can we get a couple of players' bags and put them back here on the back bar here to anchor these goals? Or if we can we get some sandbags? Coach says, well, I don't have any sandbags, so we try for the player bags. If we don't have it, we don't officiate the game. They can play, you just don't officiate it, because if something happens, it is your liability as the referee. If someone gets hurt and there's no anchor on there, you're going to be responsible for that. So you don't want to take that responsibility. And you would just put in your match report that there were no anchors. We didn't play the game. The coach couldn't get anchors. The site coordinator couldn't get the anchor. So we didn't play the game, or I did not officiate the game. Number one thing that's important. Now, for pregame, what are some of the other things that we would want to talk about here? Now, obviously, on the screen, it says some things. So what are some things that we would want to talk about that are not on the screen? What do you think? Chat or just turn your microphone on? Who's usually leading the pregame?
The RR.
Yeah, the referee is usually leading the pregame. The referee is usually talking about things that, what he would like to see or she would like to see during the game. So, okay, so what I do when I give my pregame is I use where we are on the field to talk about that part of the field. So, for example, if we are walking around down by the goal and we have a good goal, I would say what I would expect from the AR. If we have a good goal, I want you to run down to the goal line, turn around and give me a jog back up. If it is just across the line and I didn't see it, maybe I want you to stick your flag straight up. So those are some of the things we talk about. How we deal with substitutions, how we deal with coaches, how we deal with problem parents, who's writing first after a goal, making sure we keep time, things like that. Colin, what are some of the other things I'm not thinking of?
More so just like practical things on what to do on maybe if you see a penalty kick and you're the AR and you see a penalty kick. As the referee, do you want a flag there? Do you not want a flag there? What's the scenario like there? Offside situations, what the center referee's deliberate versus deflection is going to look like. Does he have a signal to his AR to let him know? A lot of it is more so outside of the game, and then during the game you have scenario things that you want to cover as well. And if the referee for whatever reason doesn't cover it as the assistant referee, make sure you ask.
Yeah, so elaborate a little bit more on what you're talking about. If you have a penalty kick, do you want a flag? Do you not want a flag? Like, what do you mean there?
So I'll just give my regular basic pregame because it's just easier to keep track of. I usually say as I'm about to run a game and I have two ARs, I usually say first and foremost for my assistant referees is going to be offside. If you're not sure, we'll keep the flag down. We have a deliberate first deflection decision. What I will give you as the center referee will be a one-hand advantage, and I will say defender, 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 or deliberate, 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 letting you know we're playing on here. If it's deflection, I'm not giving you anything. Just pop it for offside. The second thing I cover is then out of bounds scenarios. If it's just boom, 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 deflections all over the place, and we have no idea, when in doubt, I'm coming out. Feel free to lead with a goal kick or feel free to lead with the throwing coming out. If I give two whistles, tweet, 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 just mirror me. I have a deflection or some sort of touch, mirror me. And then third thing, fouls and misconduct stuff. Fine with you guys calling fouls, especially in the penalty area as well, in your quadrant. Give me first crack in the penalty area if I'm like right on top of whatever this decision is. If you've given me that first crack and you're thinking, hey, I have something else for you, go ahead and pop the flag. And then my very last thing that I cover is writing things down. I usually say, I'm going to look over at both of my ARs before I restart play. Make sure to give me some sort of a thumbs up or a nod to let me know you're set. So we're not playing and you're still writing something down.
So the ARs write the goals down too,
Correct.
and they write the cards down and
Write the
everything
cards
else.
down. Yep.
Okay, so as the referee, it's important to make sure that the AR knows who gets the card.
Correct.
Okay.
What if you both miss the card and all of a sudden it's the 60th minute of play and the center referee now gave a second yellow to a player? Hopefully, one of the ARs can say, hey, this guy's already on a yellow. So make sure your assistant referees can write them down. If it's far side of the field, just do your best or cover it at halftime to get the number correct.
So you hear there's a lot of things that go into the pregame, and this is obviously before the game even starts. Maybe we know these teams. Maybe the assistant referee had one of these teams earlier in the day, and they know, oh man, they play an offside trap, and it's something vicious. So get ready to run. The assistant referee probably wants to share that information in the pregame to prep the other assistant referee and the referee. Okay, we might have a run and gun getting ready to happen here where we have to run a lot in this game. Maybe there's a specific player that plays maybe a little bit on that line of being too physical, and the referees had that player. We can talk about it here in the pregame, saying, okay, this guy does this. So we need to be aware of that. Because again, we want to officiate the game the most fair way as possible. So all that information goes into our pregame. And some pregames can take a long time. In our case, probably like a 10-minute pregame is probably where you need to be. You could walk the field while you're doing your pregame, check the goals like they're doing here, check to make sure there's nothing dangerous on the field. Questions about the pregame?
And also, one important thing to note, just because Arbiter says you're assigned to maybe a U12 Classic game, check the roster when you get to the field. Arbiter is not always right.
Yeah, good point. Okay, well, let's keep going on. And we're talking about all these things we do at the pregame. After the pregame is done and we've checked the teams in, what do we do next? We've already got our rosters if we need to. What's the next thing?
We call the captains.
Yeah, we call the captain. So, what happens at that coin toss? Like, what are some of the things that we. So, some of you who have refereed a couple of games, what do you do at the coin toss? Like, start from the very beginning when the players come out.
I tell them that let's try to have fun, to play safe, and I let them know that I'm trying to do my best to keep a safe game and follow the rules.
Yeah, safe, fair, fun play. And I see Alex in the chat says introductions. Yeah, it's fine to, I usually do the fist pump. Hey, I'm BJ. Nice to meet you. Good luck today. That's fine too. And then Lugo, exactly like you just said, quick spiel. You don't want to get into a long narrative, but just like you said, hey, safe, fair, fun play. We're all trying our hardest out here today. Respect my calls. I'll respect your play as best we can. And we can go from there. So then, okay, so we have the coin. We're getting ready to flip the coin. Who calls it?
Uh, I remember that the home team have the light color and the visit team have the dark color. So the color decides who got the ball.
Okay, so you don't choose, you don't actually flip the coin in your game. Am I hearing that right?
I flip the coin, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so we flip the coin. The visiting team is going to call the coin, and then they get to choose exactly what you said. Who's going to, did they want the ball or they want to choose the side? And then the other team gets the other one of those things. So yeah, and that's what we do. What do you think about letting the coin hit the ground or catching it? What do you think? And it's not that big a deal, but it's just a little small.
Hit the ground, so you can't be accused of catching it.
Yeah, it's a little small thing. Let it hit the ground. Yeah, so everyone sees you didn't interfere with this coin and you didn't catch it and then flip it or something like that. So it hits the ground and then a little small thing, leave it there. Finish the captains and then pick the coin up. So you're not bending over to pick the coin up in the middle of the captain circle. Little small experience thing, but it looks better. It's better optics when you do that. So yeah, okay. So we flipped the coin. We know who's going which way. We've said hi to everybody. The ARs have now gone to their side of the field. Here are our ARs. And the team is going to be kicking off, attacking the goal to the right. Where does the referee stand when she's getting ready to blow her whistle to start the game? A, B, C, or D? And we're going to get into the referee's diagonal next, but I want to know where we stand when we're going to start the game. So I think C, I think B, I see several A's. So we're going to talk about the referee's diagonal momentarily. Roughly, well, the AR, unless we're running a reverse, which we're not going to cover tonight, the AR is going to run from midfield to goal line here, midfield to goal line here. The referee's diagonal is the other areas, so kind of roughly over here to roughly down here. And we want to keep play between us and our lead assistant referee. What does it mean to be the lead assistant referee?
Where is the ball playing?
Yeah, where the ball's going toward, right? The play is coming toward. So in our case, we have the team attacking to the right. So our lead assistant referee is this one, right? So if I want to keep play between me and this assistant referee, then I want to start the game somewhere over here. The traditional side used to be here at B. It's more A now, but somewhere on this side of the field. What I do when I start the game is I'll look at this assistant referee and I'm about here. Start walking this way. As I'm doing it, I'll check in with this other assistant referee, make sure she's good. When everyone's good, I blow the whistle, and by that point, I'm somewhere over here now. But it used to be, yeah, we started back here. Now, this is if we're attacking this goal to the right. If we're attacking the goal to the left, it's just the opposite. Then we are over here at C or D because our lead assistant referee is going to be this one. So, any questions on where we stand? We're going to get into what we do and where we go on the field with that referee's diagonal. But right now, just where we stand to start this thing. Let's keep going. Referee's diagonal. So the referee's diagonal is, like I said, roughly over here to roughly over here. We see where the ARs are running. Does that mean the referee can't be here? No. Does that mean the referee can't be here? No. This is a guide, and it's just a rough guide to start with and to build off of. So what does it mean? This is kind of where we're going to be running as a rule. But like I said, it's a guideline. The best position is the one that allows you to make the correct call, to be in position to see the call. So that doesn't mean you're running all over the field. As you as you start advancing through your refereeing career, you'll start hearing about quadrants and zones and things like that. But as a guideline, this referee's diagonal is where we want to start. Now, I have this bullet point here. Being fit and being in position are two different things. What do you think I mean by that? Being fit and being in position are two different things. Well, for one thing, the bullet right in front says the best position's the one that allows you to make the correct call. How do you get into the best position?
I
You
think, sorry, go ahead.
no,
Go
I
ahead.
just you run, you move. So you got to be fit to be able to move about the field to get into
Exactly.
position.
Exactly.
And,
Being fit. Go ahead, Lugo.
and I think running too, and I think the other thing is know how to read the game.
Bingo. You're not running for the sake of running, right? You're running because, and that part comes with practice. When you read the game, that'll come with practice. So then all of a sudden you kind of know where to go. So, but your work rate can start from game one. So I think, Alex, you're starting this weekend, referee. You might not exactly know where to go, but your work rate will show that you are definitely working at this and trying to get there. So yeah, you all everyone great answers. Had to jump out the Zoom there for a second. And like we just said, positioning comes with time, working hard comes with the very first game. So fine, we now know, hang on, where we're going to stand to blow the whistle. We know what the assistant referee's diagonal is. So we're right over here or right over here in that previous screen. It's time to start the game. If you've never blown a whistle, you are going to get, and I'm not going to blow it loud, don't worry. Is that, okay, I see Lugo kind of smiling. Is that an authoritative whistle? No. I'm sure as you've played, you've heard that whistle. So what I have here on the right, we're going to watch this clip just very briefly. These are new referees outside. We're actually calling penalty kicks here, but we're practicing blowing our whistle because let's think about this. The game is getting ready to start. All those players have been there for at least a half hour warming up. They are ready to go. It is exciting. Let's get this game underway, and we give them. So that's not good. Let's listen to some of these referees' whistles. Oh, are we going to be able to play it? Ah, we aren't going to be able to play it. All right. Oh, there we go. And again, they're blowing for penalty kicks, but about the same intensity of a whistle is what we need here. Yeah.
Okay, longer, stronger, confident whistle. Okay.
That's a pretty good one, right? To start the game. Let's do one or two more here.
Good whistle. These are definitely better whistles than the first.
Because these are our peers, and this is them blowing their whistles for some of the first times. Now, the clip on the left, an experienced referee getting ready to start the game. And let's listen to his whistle. You hear the difference there? That's the whistle you want on the left. That does not happen overnight. That takes practice. But that whistle needs to match the intensity of your game. Now, obviously, this is not every kickoff. If it's 8-0, you don't need that whistle at the next kickoff. Okay, but the start of the game, maybe the start of after halftime, you want to have a nice, strong whistle. That, again, comes with practice. So great, we've started the game. I'm going to jump back off this screen for a second. We've started the game now. As referees, what do we do? We're out there. What are we looking for? What do we call? Why don't we throw it? We've got a bigger group now. Why don't we throw it into the chat? What are some of the things we can call as referees? Or what are some of the things we do? Because there's some things out there that we're doing that is not necessarily a call. Yeah, we're looking for fouls and calling them, right, Porter? Yep. We're communicating. We're communicating with the players. We're communicating with each other, the assistant referees. Moving on the field for best position to see the action. Yeah. What are some of the other things that we are looking for? Or what are some of the other things that we need to call or do? Don't overthink it. So we're looking for fouls. We can call a foul, right? Notice the players. Yeah. So Matt says noticing the players who have high impact. Yeah. So that's kind of reading the game too, reading the what you have going on in that particular game. How about calling throw-ins, goal kicks, corner kicks, offside? Yeah, we're helping. We're part of the team that's calling offside. Exactly. Who has the final say in all of this stuff? The referee does, right? Who's filing the match report? The referee does, right? Who's keeping the official time? Does that mean that the assistant referees don't need to bring a watch? No, the assistant referees need to have their watch started at the same time the referee starts for every half, or if you play quarters, every quarter, because you're going to be out there 4 or 5 games a day. I can guarantee you one of those times that referee is going to run by, hey, I forgot to start my watch. How much time do you have? Can almost guarantee it. Can we keep time on our cell phone? No, do not use your cell phone. You need to buy a watch. This is a $20 watch at Walmart. Do I want this watch to count up or down? See everyone in the chat up. Yeah, why? Why do I want it to count up? It's an experience thing too. Extra time, yeah. You got the final say, right? You're the one who's gonna blow the whistle when the game is over, the half is over. Uh, so you are gonna allow this next shot to go off, and then you're gonna end the game. Your watch beeps before the ball goes into the goal. You're gonna have everyone saying, "Hey, the game was over. Your watch beeped." You don't want that, right? So for everything else that everyone said here, yeah, you're right. It's going to be easier to keep track of the misconducts. It was in the 34th minute. 34th minute. I don't have to do math. I can just know it was in the 34th minute. But the experience tip is don't make it harder for yourself when your watch beeps because it was counting down. So just a little small thing. But everything else, yeah, good. So let's look at some of these things. We're enforcing the laws of the game. So we just talked about it: fouls, misconduct, offside, throw ins, corner kicks, whatever it is. We're acting as timekeeper. We talked about that. We are supervising the start and restart of play. Well, there are signals for all of these things, and we're going to go over a lot of those signals next. So we're doing this all while we're moving around the field. Like Matt said earlier, we're reading the play to be in the best position to make the call or to do all of these other things that we see on the slide here. So to do that, it's going to take some work. One of the things I want to talk about, though, is this very first bullet point: confidence. I have no idea what just happened. You know, it was boom, 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 boom. But I got to make a decision. So if I go in there and I look really not confident, even though I have no idea what just happened, am I going to sell that call very easily to the players and the coaches and the fans? Probably not. So let's listen to what Ray says and we can talk about that.
You tell me which one looks better. Go this way or like this? Good. So head up, your body language says a lot. This is convincing. This is like, maybe we're going that way. But this says, hey, we're going this direction, okay?
If you're sure, or even if you're not sure of the call, act like you are. Kind of like the whole thing with the whistle we just talked about a few minutes ago. That weak whistle, if that was your foul whistle too, again, not confident. Your directions, like Ray said, even if you're not sure, make a decision and then act like you're sure. It's going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you with your game control, for one. And also, I mean, that's the biggest one right there. But like I said, if you sell your call, The players won't give you as much grief, the coach won't give you as much grief. You need to look the part of the referee, act confident and strong in the signals, in the whistles, in positioning, in mobility. So let me ask this. I'm the referee and I'm just standing around. I'm walking slowly. I'm way behind play. How do you think the coaches and the players are going to feel about that? We're getting paid big money to be out there. I mean, think about some of these game fees. Like, Colin, what is it for like the U19 classic level now? It's like 90 and
Yeah, they're about.
yeah, $90 for doing one game. When I started, I used to get for U19, I think it was 20 and 15. 20 for the middle, 15 for the line at the time, not AR. And we're up to $90 for one game. But you got to work for it. I mean, you can't just show up. So I have a clip here of our peers, like doing a youth game, and you'll see her moving around the field. This is what you need to be doing. So let's look at that and we'll explain why. There's no sound. She's just going around the field, following play. She's not standing still, right? And what does that show? It shows confidence, for one. It shows that you give a darn because you're putting in the effort, right? And if you're closer to play, it's going to be easier to make the call, but also sell the call. Think about that. If you're 45 yards away from play and you blow your whistle to call a foul with 10 people standing around where that play was, 45 yards, do you have any credibility with that? No, right? So you got to get there. So getting back to positioning and mobility, the work rate, the work ethic comes with game one. The stuff we're talking about being in the right position to make the call, it's going to take some time. But show the effort from day one, that first whistle. So now that we know we need to be moving around the field, let's talk about some of the things that we could call and the signals that go into making the call. How about the throw in? Let's just look on how we make this.
The signal for a throw-in is given while facing the touchline where the throw-in will occur. The arm is raised and extended at a 45-degree angle with the fingers held together. The signal should indicate which team has been awarded the throw-in, so the referee's arm should point in the direction of the goal that team is attacking. Once possession of the ball for the restart is established and understood by the players, the referee's arm is lowered.
So everyone knows how to make a throw-in, call the throw-in. If I'm an AR, it's the exact same thing, only with the flag, right? Same thing on the if you're the center. What am I actually showing here? I'm showing a direction, right? So it's a directional signal. Same thing if we have an indirect or direct free kick, which we'll get into in a few minutes. So throw-in, we'll see some of those other ones too. The referee team manages substitutions more often than not, right? The AR is calling for the substitution. How does the referee know that we have a substitution that needs to be made? Don't overthink it. How does the referee... Go ahead, Logo.
Put the flag or horizontal above our head with both hands.
Right. But what does the referee need to do to know that we need to make a substitution? And this is a stupid answer. The ref has to look, Matt. Exactly. That's why I said it's a stupid answer. The ref has to look at his ARs. So when do you do this? You do it almost at every stoppage, but you're always looking at the AR. Or not always. I mean, you're always glancing over throughout the course of the game at the AR because you're a team there. You want to make sure that the AR knows that, yeah, I saw the same thing. I'm going to go with you. Or substitutions, exactly. I'm going to look back over at a stoppage. I'm going to see the assistant referee with the flag over there. But you actually have to do it. Let's watch this referee, and you will see this referee looking, just glancing to the AR, to the trail AR, and he's doing something else too. If he's in agreement, he's probably giving a nod or maybe a little thumbs up or something like that. Let's watch him actually putting this in practice. Oh, he just looked over at the AR. See the nod there he gave? He looked at the AR for the direction. Nod. Yep, I've got the same. Oh, I'm just checking my trail. Looked at the AR. Nod. Nod again. Gave the direction. Looked at the trail. How many of us actually do that? Be honest with yourself. Okay, and you don't have to answer it here. Be honest with yourself. Are you really looking over at the AR? And then ARs, are you ready to look back? That's the other thing. A lot of times when I do that, I in my pregame, I'll say, I'm going to look at you at every stoppage, guys. And I'll look at him at every stoppage. And the AR's looking around on the field, looking at the grass, looking everywhere except at me. So if I'm the AR, well, I need to make sure, okay, we have a stoppage. I want to look at the referee. And if I'm the referee and my AR just gave me a good signal and I'm going to agree with them, okay, yeah, shake your head. Every once in a while, a thumbs up. If there's a good offside call or something that the AR did, it's questionable, give the AR some support. Like everyone's yelling, it couldn't have been offside. It couldn't have been offside. Nice call, AR. Thumbs up. Every once in a while, I'll do that. Just like show clapping. I'm not clapping loud. I'm just so the AR sees it. I don't care if anyone else sees it. But we're all a team and we're working together. So I've looked back at the AR and the AR is going to give me the substitution signal. So, like Lugo said, I'm going to play the clip for the AR substitution signal and then we'll talk about it. So, he's looked back and we have this.
To indicate that a valid substitution request has been made at a stoppage. The assistant referee holds the flag between the hands above the head until the referee acknowledges the request by allowing the substitution to occur. Once the referee allows the substitution to proceed, the flag is lowered to the side and no further signal is needed. However, it is common for referees to include in the pregame discussion some preferred method for the assistant referee to indicate that a substitution process is completed and play can be restarted. This is often desirable in matches where the local rules of competition allow unlimited substitutions and for substituted players to return to the field. Occasionally, an assistant referee signal is not seen by the referee because his or her attention is directed somewhere else. When this happens, the other assistant referee should mirror the same signal to help the referee become aware and then direct the referee's attention to the original signaler. For example, a substitution is signaled by the assistant referee on the opposite side of the field from where the referee is looking. In this case, the other assistant referee gives the substitution signal, which is more readily seen since it is in view of the referee, and the assistant referee then points across the field to indicate that a signal is being given there of which the referee needs to be aware.
It's a lot for substitutions. Let's break that down. So Alex, let's see here. Okay, great question. So Alex asks, where should the referee or the AR be when the substitute is being requested? So I am going to give a long answer, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to a previous slide where I have my field. Okay. AR is standing with the second to last defender, right? Or the ball, whichever is closest to the goal line. And there is a substitution. So the AR standing even with that second to last defender signals for the sub. Now, there's a second part to this. So let's say that is right here. But the subs are taking place all the way up here. I'm still standing down here. Now, there's a second part, like I said, but first, The referee acknowledges that we have a sub, and we're going to see a clip for what the referee is doing in just a second. As the AR, do I keep my flag up here? I don't. I bring it down, right? But we just saw in that clip that we're not done. We need to help facilitate this sub. So once we have the right amount of people back off the field and back on the field, we need to give some sort of communication to the referee. Well, just like we talked about before, a nod, a thumbs up. Now, back to Alex's question. I'm standing here, even with the second to last defender, and we have the sub. I put it up there. Subs are taking place way up here. So it's kind of like a mutual job between the AR and the referee to make sure we have the right amount of players coming off the field and the right amount of players coming back on the field, because I'm still standing down here. Okay, so I'm looking up and I'm counting, and the referee might come over to look and count to make sure we have the right amount of players. And then we resume. But when we advance on and we're doing things like State Cup or higher level games, that's not good enough. So for our games that we're probably doing, the U12 and the Classic, the lower level, younger Classic, I'm standing down here at the second to last defender. If I'm doing the State Cup final, I'm still standing here at the second to last defender, and I'm still signaling for substitution. But once the referee acknowledges the sub, I run up to midfield to facilitate the sub. So in this case, at these games, the players aren't coming on until the other player comes off. So I am going to be standing there. If I have a fourth official, that'll be great. I'm going to be standing there. A player comes off. Okay, you can go on. You can go on. You can go on. And when everybody is good, then I turn and I get back to even with my second to last defender. Now, in a game like this, referee, don't start the game again when your AR is trying to run back downfield. Wait till the AR gets back into position and then gives a nod or thumbs up. But Alex, 99% of the games we do, you're staying even with the second to last when you indicate the sub, and then you stay there.
And also there, if you do have that simultaneous decision where, oh, we have a goal kick or a corner kick or whatever the decision is that you have to give a throw-in direction, whatever it is, give the signal for whatever it is, corner kick, goal kick, throw-in direction, and then hopefully the referee is still looking over at you. Then you give that sub signal as well. If he's looked away or she's looked away, you can say, hey, you can give the signal and be like, sub, 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 sub. So hopefully he'll or she be able to see it as well.
So good question. We've done part one of the substitution. The AR has indicated. Mirroring, by the way, because that was a really long clip for substitutions. All the subs are being taken place here. This is the bench side, but the problem is it's a really windy day and the wind is blowing toward this goal, and the team that is going toward that goal is already up 9-0. So the play never gets over here. The referee is not looking back at every stoppage like she should. So what could happen is we have, I don't know, Matt's over here and he's got a sub, but the referee doesn't look at him. So instead, then we could have Porter on this side of the field. Porter can signal for a sub because there's a better chance the referee is going to see Porter than Matt. And then when the referee acknowledges Porter, Porter can point across the field and say, hey, we have a sub. Remember, we're a team. Okay, and so that's what they're talking about with mirroring. But for our case, flag up, referee acknowledges that we have a sub, flag down, and as the referee, how do we do this?
When the request for a substitution is signaled by the assistant referee or fourth official, the referee need only provide a clear visual indication that the substitution may proceed. This typically involves the referee waving on the player in question with a beckoning motion. If needed, the referee can clarify the signal with the officiating team during the pregame conference.
So how many of us either play or are some way affiliated with high school soccer? Does anybody at all do referee high school soccer or play high school soccer?
I play adult.
Play adult. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in U.S. soccer, which is what we're talking about here, notice there's no whistle for a substitution. We don't need a whistle. We're going to hear sub, wave them on. In high school soccer, I'm not going to blow it loud, but yeah, everyone knows that. That's bring the attention to the referee, but it's also kind of like the de facto sub whistle. You can do that. Again, you see here, it's not indicated to do that, but you could. And if you do that, make sure you restart with one too. So restart would not be two whistles again. Restart would just be the single whistle. Okay, so yeah, so you can do that. And I think that's one of the few that I like the high school way of thinking, because the players seem to expect that. Everyone here, I've seen a lot of people shaking their head. Yeah, they're familiar with that. It's not called for, but we can do it. So again, we had both parts of the substitution there, as the AR and then what we do as the referee. So let's keep going through some of these other clips. And we're going to talk about how we signal a direct free kick here.
The signal for a direct free kick is the same as for a throw-in. Its purpose is to establish which team has possession of the ball for the restart, and accordingly, once this is understood by the players, the arm is lowered. The arm is raised and extended at a 45-degree angle with the fingers held together.
So he actually stole my thunder. I was about to say, it's the exact same thing. Remember I talked about the throw-in, what it actually we're doing? We're giving a directional signal. Well, here is the same signal again. And if we're the AR, it's the same thing. After we give the wave, 45-degree angle. And it's straight out. It is not, I'm going to stop sharing here for a second so you can see me. It is not this. It is not this. That is the directional signal. We're not pointing like this. I don't know what we're indicating here. There's a clip, I think it's in this presentation. I redid this presentation. This could be like to calm things down too, if we're going like this. It's definitely not that either. We saw the clip with Ray earlier. What does that show? That shows, but I'm not confident in my call. 45-degree angle, straight out, fingers continue straight out that direction. Is that good? Notice what is in my hand here, my whistles. Do I want to signal with the whistle?
No, have it in the other hand.
Exactly. And switch it out. Okay, don't signal with the whistle in your hand. Don't run with the whistle in your mouth as you're breathing. Okay, you don't want to do that. And also, for some of you who have just starting to referee and you're buying gear, you don't want a lanyard any longer than about that. You don't want one that hangs around your neck or anything like that. You can get the little finger whistles if you want, but as lanyards go, you probably don't want anything longer than that. So, good. All right. Let me reshare and see where we are.
And can I say something else?
Sure, go ahead.
Having the whistle of the hand give us time to think about the foul, or if we can play the game if the ball is on the team attacking.
Great point. Yeah, that's a great point. It gives you a second to think about it. Yeah, very good. So, okay, so that is a direct free kick, but the same thing, it's the same signal again for the indirect kick. There's just another part to this. Let's look at the indirect kick signal, and then let's get it back on here. There we go. And then we'll talk about the difference between indirect and direct.
The signal for an indirect free kick starts with establishing which team has possession. This is done by first giving the same arm signal as for a direct free kick. As soon as possession has been established, then the referee gives a separate signal to indicate that the free kick will be indirect rather than direct. The law requires that the indirect free kick signal be held from when the ball is kicked until the ball contacts another player or play is stopped for some other reason, at which point the signal is lowered. The signal itself consists of the arm held straight upward with the fingers held together. The arm used for the signal should not be the one in which the whistle is held.
I beat him to it that time. Okay. So there's something I'm going to disagree with the law on here in just a second. But first of all, what does it mean to be an indirect kick versus a direct kick?
There has to be 2 touches before his goal.
It has to be touched by somebody else before it goes in the goal. Yes, just touched. So if you have a foul at the top of the 18 and the play, it's an indirect kick for some, or you have something for an indirect kick. Maybe it's a dangerous play. Top of the 18, the attacker lines up, kicks it right in the goal. What's the restart?
Goal kick.
Goal kick, exactly. It's got to touch somebody else before it goes in the goal. So I gave one dangerous play. What's something else that we could have an indirect kick for? There's one big one.
Handball.
No, handball would be a direct kick.
Okay.
But there's one big one.
Offside.
Offside, exactly. Offside's indirect. So, and this is where I'm going to disagree with what the law says because it's not practical. I'm going to go back. I should have had a little soccer field other than, I apologize. I should have. Okay, we're back to this soccer field. We have an offside down here, right? In the defensive third of the field. It's indirect. So, okay, we've indicated it's offside and I've got my hand up. But as the referee, I'm standing here. And now I've got to run all the way down to the drop zone, down on my diagonal, somewhere down here. Well, the law says I keep my hand up, but that's just not practical. So what I recommend you do is, all right, you indicate the offside, you put your hand up, then you bring your hand down, run into position, and put it back up. Okay, because it's awkward to run with your hand up. That's why they changed the advantage signal from the 2 to the 1. It's just easier to do this while you're running. So that's another one where it's just easier. Bring your hand down, get in position, definitely indicate that it's indirect, then bring it down, get in position, and put it back up. So any questions on anything between direct and indirect? The other thing for indirect, it could be some weird stoppage that is not covered anywhere else in the laws. That could be an indirect kick too. Am I thinking, Colin, can you think of any others? I mean,
Pass back to the goalkeeper is usually one I see more times than not.
Yep, that's another one where it could be indirect kick as well. So, okay. Here is an unofficial signal that we can definitely use.
When a restart such as a free kick, goal kick, throw-in, or corner kick must be delayed for any reason, U.S. Soccer recommends that referees give a clear indication to the team in possession of the ball for the restart that it may not attempt to put the ball into play until indicated by the referee with the whistle. This is achieved by verbally stating that the team must wait for the whistle, and in most cases, pairing this with a strong visual indication by raising the whistle no higher than the referee's shoulders or head and pointing to it with the other hand.
So let's break that down into parts. The last part first. No higher than the shoulders or head. Why do you think that is? If I have this up here like this, what does that kind of look like? I know you can't see my hand, but we just covered about an indirect kick, right?
Yeah, an indirect kick.
Yeah. So if I have this down here, that takes that ambiguity away from it. Okay, that's why you want to keep it down. Now, I'm not going to put it out where I'd normally put it because that's going to be right in your face. But yeah, you want to keep it head down, shoulders down. Now, when are you doing this? When are we doing this more often than not? They said if there's any prolonged period of waiting. But more often than not, this is when we have a ceremonial free kick. And what I'm talking about, a ceremonial free kick, is if we go back to that field one more time, let's say we have a kick, it's an attacking kick to this goal, and it's taking place maybe right about here. or somewhere just outside the box? Well, if they didn't get up and play a really quick kick, I'm going to set the wall, right? That's one thing I'm going to do. So if I'm going to set the wall, I'm going to say, okay, guys, on the whistle. I'm going to turn to the keeper. Keeper, we're going on the whistle. Okay? Everybody, we're on the whistle. And now I'm going to mark off this wall. That's a ceremonial kick. I'm bringing all this attention to me to make sure we've got everybody exactly where they need to be. And everybody in that situation knows we're not starting until the whistle. And if they start anyway, well, you've told enough people that they all know. Okay, so you can just stop it and say, nope, we're going to go on the whistle. Okay, so that's kind of what a ceremonial free kick is. You're not doing that out here at midfield, unless for some crazy. I mean, even if they're not 10 yards away out here at midfield, I'm probably saying get back, get back. In here, we're going to give them their 10 yards and what they want. So we're not going to restart this until we have that 10 yards marked and everyone's where they need to be. It's ceremonial, and then we'll go back, and that's what we're going to do. Wait for the whistle. Questions on that? Jump 7 slides ahead again. So, okay, and this is another great question here, comparing high school versus U.S. soccer. Let's watch this, and then we'll talk about it.
The signal for a goal is for the referee to turn and point upfield towards the center mark. Before signaling, the referee's attention should remain focused on the area in front of the goal to observe player reactions. Next, the referee should make eye contact with each member of the officiating team, specifically with the lead assistant referee, to ensure that no infractions have taken place. Once this has been completed, the referee should signal accordingly.
Did they blow a whistle?
No.
No. In high school, we blow a whistle. In U.S. soccer, we do not blow a whistle. I am going to pull up, let's see here, so I don't have to keep jumping back. Okay, good. Soccer field. If we have a good goal, the assistant referee is running downfield because they're going to stay either with the second to last defender or the ball, whichever is closest to this goal line, right? So they're running downfield, and they've got all the way to the goal line because that's what they need to do. Then if they have a good goal, what do they do? As an assistant referee, if I have a good goal, what do I do?
Run to the midfield.
Yes, I see, and Matt put it in the chat too. The first thing I'm going to do is make eye contact with the referee. So if I'm the referee, the first thing I'm going to do is make eye contact with my assistant referee, right? Eye contact is important. The assistant referee turns and starts jogging back up to midfield, indicating that she has a good goal. Okay, now back on those clips. Every one of these referees in the clip turned and pointed toward midfield. Nobody watched what was going on in the goal. So before I turn and point toward midfield, I look to see what's going on in the goal. Somebody could get up and push. An attacker could run into the goal to grab the ball, and the goalie's going to get the ball, and we have a fight. Something could happen in the goal. As the referee, I need to be prepared to deal with. So, yes, you point back up toward midfield. First, you make sure everything is okay in the goal. You make sure your assistant referee has a good goal. If both of those things happen, then I point up toward midfield. Now, somebody's got to write, right? Someone's got to write down we have a goal. Colin, what order do you do it?
Trail lead center.
So the trail AR, the one at the other end of the field, writes down that we have a goal first. Then the lead AR writes down that we have a goal. The last person that writes down that we have a goal is the referee. Now, why can't we all just write at the same time?
Someone needs to be paying attention to the field.
Yeah, right? Someone's got to be watching what's going on the field. So trail writes first, lead, then the center, then the referee writes. So this next clip is us working this in Holly Springs with a group of newer referees. We don't have any players on the field, but she's running downfield, and I'll just show you. I'm going to blow it up, obviously, but that's the AR, and she's my referee. And let's watch the clip, and then we'll talk about what she does. And she's got a goal.
Again, just give yourself a second before you run out of there and turn your back, because you don't know what's going on. Okay? All right, now you're going back up. You've written everything you need to write, right?
So she was a little fast to get out of the goal. There's no reason for you to be running at that point. You can stick around, make sure everything, your presence is going to be helpful there. But notice when she got back up to midfield, let's see.
Right?
She's looking. Who's she looking at? She's looking at her AR, right? Yeah. And she's going to look at her other AR. If the other AR is still writing for some reason, or is not in second to last position, or hasn't given the thumbs up, do we start? We don't. We wait. Again, we want to make it easy for our team to facilitate. So she's looking, and that's exactly what's going on there. Okay. All right. Any questions, by the way? Feel free to throw them in the chat or just interrupt. You can also direct message Colin in the chat as well. So we've worked through several things we need to call. We need to give a card. So let's watch this clip and then definitely talk about this clip.
There are two basic scenarios for displaying a card for misconduct. The standard approach is to collect information from the player to be carded, and then, while standing at least an arm's length away, to raise an arm straight upward while holding the card by the thumb and one or more fingers so that the card is clearly visible. The other scenario used is when the referee decides there is a danger of retaliation, violence, or further misconduct if action is not taken immediately. In this case, the card is shown in the same way as in the standard scenario, but as quickly as possible, perhaps even while in the process of approaching the player guilty of misconduct, and only afterward is the necessary information gathered before play is restarted. Anytime a red card is displayed, the action should be followed by a gesture which clearly indicates that the player must leave the field. If a player is issued a yellow card for the second time in the game, the referee puts the yellow card away after displaying it, and only then is the red card displayed. U.S. Soccer recommends that referees keep yellow and red cards in separate pockets so they can be quickly retrieved without fumbling, dropping, or wasting time to check that the correct color card has been pulled.
Okay, so a few things there. First of all, I'm going to stop sharing here. Is that a good way to give a card? It's right in your face, right? That's not what you want to do. Card overhead. Arm, but you can't see the card itself, but the arm is straight overhead. I am a few feet away from the person who I'm giving the card to. I don't want to get decked. I don't want the card ripped out of my hand. So not like this, up here, and give yourself a little space. Don't get into the personal space. That's the first thing. The second thing is, if you noticed, every one of those referees where, I'm showing you I got this card, and then I'm turning and walking away. You don't need to do that. You're adding more fuel to already a potential volatile situation. Just put the hand up with the card. That's it. That's all you need to do. Okay? Make sure you have all the information. You did hear in the clip, they talked about two possible scenarios that give this card. One way is you write all the information down first, and then you give the card. But what happens if we have a hard foul and we need to get there and show to everybody that we have this under control? Well, in that case, you're coming in with the card in your hand already. Now, how do you do that? How many cards should I have? How many yellow cards should I have on me? And how many red cards should I have on me in the game?
One.
So I heard two people speaking at once. What was that? Lugo, what did you think?
One card.
One yellow, one
One
red.
yellow.
So you could get away with one yellow, one red, but I would recommend that you have two. Now, where do you keep them? Well, here's my data wallet. That usually comes with a yellow and a red card right there. This one can be used. Okay, I've got my data wallet out. I'm writing down, okay, number 17 committed the yellow card or on sporting behavior in the 43rd minute. Everything is under control. I am purposely going slow here. And the reason I am going slow here is because that's one of my game control things. I need to slow this game down here just a little bit because it's getting a little heated. So I'm taking my time issuing the card, and I can have this in my data wallet right here, and then I can turn and put it out. However, the other place you keep the card is in your pocket, your shorts pocket. Yellow in the front, red in the back pocket. So you hear all the time, oh, he's going to his back pocket, right? That means we've got a red card coming. It's common. It's just common. It's the unwritten law that that's where you keep the cards. The yellow is in the front pocket, red in the back pocket. But definitely have a second one, because what happens if this one somehow falls out? The one that's you're running around in your pocket. Could happen, right? And again, if you use this one, you're probably slowing the game down. If you use this one, you might need it in a hurry. And a lot of times you'll see referees now, before they've even issued the card, they've got the card in their hand and they're just holding it. They're just holding it down by their side. So everyone sees, okay, this is coming to somebody. Okay? It's, again, just controlling the game down. And you'll also see sometimes assistant referees to indicate they want a card. So you can see my pocket. Okay, what am I going like this for? Well, that's because this is up there. So yeah, but then again, like I said, there's no reason to go boom up into that person's face and be all demonstrative about it. Just give the card. Just hold up and give the card. I've got a couple other props here. Do we know what this one's for? Any ideas?
Right substitution, like you need to do the substitution right away.
So this is not used in our game. This is for indoors. And it's to indicate power play, penalty, kind of like in hockey. So if someone goes off for 2-minute power play or 2-minute penalty, that's what you use this one for. How about this one? This one doesn't come out of the plastic anymore. So this one, and if you can see on the writing, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. This was used in Finland. They tried something there to promote good sportsmanship. So if you did a good play, you would get a good sporting play. You'd get one of these. The player with the most of these at the end of the season won an award. So this was given to me as an exchange program back in the day, but it's, as you can see, it's falling apart, so it doesn't come out of that bag. Questions on how we give the card. Now, we've given the card. What do we need to write?
What happened? What was the reason of the fault?
Yeah. So
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
The name of the number of the player
Number of the player.
and the time when occurred the fault.
Yeah, the team probably too, right? Yeah. Who do we need to tell? Because you're right on everything you just said, but who do we need to tell? Think teamwork.
To our ARs?
Yeah, well, at least one AR. At least one AR. Hey, Lugo, that was 17. To make sure you got the number. Okay, you could tell the time because you can look at your own watch, and you don't really care about the reason why. You just need to know 17 yellow, right? Or 17 got a red. So that 5 minutes later, when I give another yellow to number 17 and he stays on the field, you can call me over and said, you already gave him a yellow 5 minutes ago. Because obviously 2 yellows equals 1 red. So good. Okay. So let's look at this clip. And this is just a quick clip again of our peers giving cards. Okay. Now, what is this AR signaling right now? He's signaling something right now.
Penalty kick.
Yeah. So the AR is over there signaling the same thing. The AR went up with the flag in the right hand and is then signaling a penalty kick. Way back at the beginning of class tonight, Colin said, if on penalty kicks, do you want a flag? Do you not want a flag? This is the signal for penalty kick, but the referee might not want you to give that signal. The referee might instead say, just walk toward the corner, or give some other signal that's maybe a little bit less visible because maybe the referee is not wanting to call this penalty kick for some reason. The referee's got the final say, right? So that's something that you'd want to cover in your pregame.
You can sell discreet, you can't sell a show.
Yes. Well said. And here's Colin here coming over to say that very same thing probably. So, okay. Now, this next clip, I'm not sure if this is the red card clip or if this is a communication clip. Let's see. When you card the player, do you usually tell them the reason why? You don't have to, no. In high school, you need to tell the coaches why, and you can tell the player why. In U.S. soccer, no, you don't have to. You can if they ask. You can tell them the code. So, and that's a good thing to know. It's a lot of those codes. So you know, whether it's second caution or unsporting behavior, UB, you know, you're gonna get into spitting and all these other different ones. It's a good idea to know why you're giving the card. Persistent infringement is a big one, PI. So they keep doing the same thing. And persistent infringement, it might not even be that player that keeps doing the same thing. His team could keep doing the same thing, and he's just the one that did it last. So that's another reason you would give that one for too. So good question. Okay, so that's a red card. Now these same two guys are going to have an...
There are two...
Hang on. These same two guys are going to have an issue here in that the assistant referee and the referee disagreed. And let's see how they handled it. And they were not prompted to handle this. Well, let's watch the clip and then we'll talk about it.
Tommy, did you have a penalty kick? Or did you have outside the box? You have a penalty kick. He didn't have that. How are we going to communicate? How are we going to talk? All right, so now we have a problem, don't we? Okay, so you want to go talk with them?
I thought it was outside the... I thought it was in the arch, but it was in the box.
I think it was in the box, yes.
Alright, we wrote it.
So we had a disagreement between the referee and the assistant referee, and the assistant referee called the referee over. The way the assistant referee did this is by sticking the flag straight up in the air in his right hand to bring the attention to the referee. And you can see this when I play this clip here in a second, you can see that that's what he is doing. And then he brings it down. This referee is not running straight over to him. If you notice, he's sidestepping and eventually he starts backpedaling. Why? Why do you think he's doing that?
Because there was a fault and can be a fight between both teams.
Yeah, someone's got to be watching the field, right? And so that's what he's doing. He's not running over, and they're not going to stand face to face. They're both going to be looking at the field. Because if they're standing face to face, then two of the three the referee crew are not watching what's going on, right? In this case, they're both standing side by side looking at the field to keep an eye on what's going on in the play. So let's play that out. There's the flag.
I thought it was outside the.
And now they're both staring, looking at the field. Now, this could be totally by coincidence because they were new referees, but they did it right. And the other thing that the referee did, and this is really important too, even if they disagree here, the referee's got the final say, but even if they disagree, notice they're both nodding their head yes at various points in the conversation. What does that show the players and all the spectators? Even if they disagree, they're showing that they agree. So whatever they're talking about right now, they're both on the same page. And that's really important too, because again, a lot of it is perception is reality. Okay, they perceive to be talking about the same thing, so they must agree. Even if they don't, they must be agreeing. So if you see, that'll happen here too. Well, we'll do that one more time, and we'll jump out there.
All right, so now we have a problem. Okay, so you want to go talk with them?
I thought it was outside the.
So he's giving a little nod there.
It was in the box.
I think it was in the box, yes.
All right, we'll go do.
Very well done, especially for a new group of referees. Okay, we're showing that we're on the same page, even if we had a disagreement. Questions on what happened there? Okay, well, let's look at how we call a penalty kick then.
When a penalty kick has been awarded, the referee points with an extended arm, fingers held together, downward in the direction of the penalty mark. This may also be accompanied by a slight, not exaggerated, bending forward of the body to clearly distinguish this signal from that of a goal kick.
And what type of whistle would this be? Would this be the... or would this be one of those really forceful whistles if we're calling a penalty kick? It's going to be a strong, powerful whistle. Again, confident. You know what you're talking about. This is a critical match incident, potentially, right? We have a penalty kick that's coming here. So when we do that, we know where the AR stands. As the referee, where do I stand for a penalty kick? Let's get everyone out of the box. Here's my referee. I am standing somewhere over here, maybe a little bit further back. And I am looking primarily at the kicker to make sure the kick is done properly, and all the other people that are standing on this line, they can't be standing in here. They have to be outside the arc. But that's primarily my job, and I'm primarily standing over here. Now, I'm standing on this side and not this side because I want to keep play between me and my AR. So, and Earl said firm, yes, firm whistle here, exactly. And then it's kind of this awkward phase for the AR. Let's say the kick was missed, or the keeper stops it and it's deflected out, but I'm standing out here and I kind of have to backpedal to get back over here. So yeah, that's a thing. He's got to be quick to get back there. Okay. So that's what we call a penalty kick. Now, there are going to be times where we make mistakes. We point the wrong direction. Okay, we're confident with it, but we pointed the wrong direction. So let's see how we can correct that.
Point this way, you're supposed to go that way, right? So players are all gonna move this way. You can be like this and go, hold on, my fault, we're going this direction. Give them a chance to reset and come down this way. If you make a mistake, we all do it as players, we all do it as referees. Just be like, hey, it's my mistake, guys. We're gonna go this direction instead.
So the audio, again, wasn't great there, but same type of thing. it's one of the times where you use the two whistles to bring attention to yourself. But the important part is you need to give the players a chance to reset. So if we're going this way and everyone's run that way, but we were supposed to be going this way, we'll give them a chance to get back and get in position, especially the defense there too. And that's what Ray is talking about there.
When a penalty...
Okay, so getting back into teamwork. We've seen these clips already. Remembering that we're a team out there. We're not going to watch the clips again. I just put them side by side to see, yeah, okay, we are a team out there. Direct kick, indirect free kick, we've seen them. But how we call a throw-in, the ARs also call, the referees also calling a throw-in. Substitutions, yeah, here's the referee working on the same thing because we all are a team when we're out there.
The signal for an indirect request.
Okay. So, okay. So we talked about how to do substitutions. We talked about mirroring the flag. What happens if we have a problem with a player or a coach? Not necessarily at substitution, but just on the bench in general. How do we handle that? We have a problem with the coach. Can the AR deal with it as a coach, for a coach? So the AR can deal with it. Yeah, to deal with the coach, they can. I mean, to a point. Coach, I need you to step back into your coach's box. I can't have you yelling out negative things or something like that. Please take care. Please calm down. Those are things that the AR can do. If it escalates beyond that, the AR needs to call the coach over. The AR needs to call the referee over for the referee to deal with it. Can we card a coach? What do you think? Yes. So yeah, so we just kind of gave them the warning, and then we can yellow card the coach and we can red card the coach. Used to be we couldn't. Used to be we could send them off, but we couldn't card them because they weren't players. Now we can. We can card them. Exactly. So yeah, we're going to warn, we're going to caution, and we're going to dismiss. Now, if it's something egregious, we can skip the warning. And if it's really bad, we can skip the caution and go right to the red if you had to. Don't think, oh my gosh, this coach just took a ball and pegged it at my assistant referee and I can only warn him. No. If that's the case, that coach needs to go. So let's take that one step further. What about a spectator? How do we handle a spectator? So far side of the field, yeah, so exactly, Earl. We're going to talk to the coach on this one. Far side of the field, the spectator's cursing at my assistant referee. The assistant referee doesn't turn and address that spectator. The assistant referee calls the referee over. The referee doesn't address the spectator. The referee goes over to the coach. Coach, the guy in the white hat was cursing at my assistant referee. The game cannot start until that person is gone. So we have just set, okay, this game is not going to start again until that person is gone. The coach needs to deal with it. In this scenario with the cursing, I probably would bring my assistant referee over with me so that he or she is not standing there having to listen more to it. And maybe in this scenario, if we go back to our field, let's say all that's happening over here. Maybe the three referees are standing, the referee crew is standing over here away from everybody while the coach is dealing with this. Now, what happens if the coach doesn't deal with it? Coach, I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. What do we do?
Give them a time course and then tell them you're going to call the game.
Okay, you suspend the game. You terminate the game. So, coach didn't deal with it. You've terminated the game. As a referee crew, leave. Go to the referee tent. Go to a car, one of your cars, and drive away, even if you have more games after. But get out of there. Because think about it. Everybody's staying off the field because the game is going on, but you just ended it. And no one's going to be happy in this situation, right? So get out of there. Now, you need to write everything that happened verbatim. You need to let your assigner know as soon as possible, and then you need to put it in your match report with the appropriate forms. And there's a whole new thing coming out. You've seen, I'm sure, the emails about the referee abuse policies that are taking place. So you need to write verbatim what happened. 43rd minute, the a parent called my assistant referee and effing whatever. Write down the word. You addressed the coach, asked the coach to remove him. The coach refused. I terminated the game. With the score being 1-1 or 2-1 or whatever. Just facts. Stick to facts here, not opinion. When you write your match reports, it's not, you've heard the expression, if in the opinion of the referee, which is how we referee the game. But on match reports, it's fact. And then let the proper authorities deal with it. Okay, you've given all the information. They might say, okay, that game's over. Or they might say, okay, the game needs to be replayed from this point. There could be a big fine for that person, that coach. The other thing, too, while we're talking about this type of stuff, is if you are under 18 and you have the option to get a wristband, a yellow wristband. And if you wear that yellow wristband and this stuff happens to you, the fines are greater. So if you want one of those wristbands, you can just email me and I'll make sure that you get it. But yeah, I know you've heard, because it's been really dictated from all different corners, we can't tolerate this in the game. We can't have parents cursing at referees or doing whatever. We can't have all of this dissent coming from coaches. Coach yells, referee! Book him. Yellow card. Does it again? All right, there's 2 CT, 2 caution. He gets a red. You can't allow that. Now, I'll tell you, in addition to not allowing it because it's not good, what are the players going to start doing if the coach is yelling, referee? The players are going to start to get a little bit more feisty too, right? Well, you can stop it. Don't bring that trouble onto yourself. Any questions on that? Again, a lot of more information is going to be coming from NCYSA and NCSRA about this stuff. Definitely read those emails when you get them. In fact, tonight we were supposed to have another instructor with us. He's in a meeting about all of that as well. So, okay. I want to wrap with, we just said, if in the opinion of the referee, is kind of like a, it's kind of a guidance for you as you go through. If you thought it was a foul, call the foul. Okay? The other one that's kind of a tenet along those lines is the letter and the spirit. And what this means, the letter of the law versus the spirit of the game. Let's watch this clip and we'll get a perfect example. What just happened? Did anybody catch what happened?
Did he give a PK for a handball?
He gave a PK for a handball for the teammate that was patting him on the shoulder and missed. Watch it again. Letter of the law says what? That's a handball. Does anybody want that called?
No.
No. The players aren't expecting that. And I can guarantee you, if the team that was kicking the penalty kick had it called against them, they'd be awfully upset too, right? That is the letter of the law versus the spirit of the game. Some things are the game is going to want to be called. but there are other things that the game's not going to want to be called. Something like this is something that doesn't need to be called. This will take practice, by the way, also trying to determine, okay, should I call that? Does the game need this? Does the game need a offside when the keeper picks the ball up and the keeper wants to punt it? Letter of the law says, no, you got to put the ball on the ground and it's an indirect kick. But the keeper and the Days want to punt it. The players are expecting the keeper to punt it. Things like that. And again, that'll come in time. When you're taking the test, it's obviously the letter of the law. But when you're actually refereeing, the good referees understand the spirit of the game. And they call toward that. Questions on that? I mean, Matt, your response was, did they give a PK for that? That's exactly, I mean, what? But that's what they did because they were following the letter of the law. So, okay. So for those of you who haven't worked through getting your assigner, what I will do is there's going to be a follow-up email from me. If you haven't gotten your uniform or anything like that, it's a standard email that I send out. It'll list places where you can get the uniform. It'll list how to find your assigner. If you haven't made that connection yet, go ahead and do it in Arbiter and then send an email to your assigner. Say, hey, I'm William. I'm a new referee. I'm working in your area. I'm looking forward to working with you. And probably you're going to have to send that same email again in 3 weeks because the assigners have a lot of people that they don't know. So if you get the opportunity to get your face in front of an assigner, do it. Classes like this. There are classes that are in person now that are being held in a lot of different places around the state. If you hear of one of those, try to go because I've been refereeing since 1990. Before I do a game, I'm reading something in the law book because it's always continuous improvement, always reminding yourself of, oh yeah, this is how I'd handle it. And so every time you get a chance to do something like that, definitely take advantage of it. So questions. What questions do we have? Maybe there's an experience that you've had in a game that you've already refereed, or you're not sure how you would handle something. Now's a great time where we're all here among peers that we can talk about it. And feel free to just turn your mic on, I think, for this part.
I referee a game of U13, and on the substitutions, I wasn't giving like the double whistle. I for for the player that is going to do the throwing, and the AR told me on the half, he told me to do the double whistle and to restart the game with one whistle, and I started doing it, and it was working much better.
Yeah, because the person taking the throw-in might not know there's a substitution going on, right? And then you have to do it anyway. So yeah, so that's what I said. It's not called for, but it really works. That's one of those ones that I think kind of like what the players are going to expect. They're not expecting that handball. They're probably expecting the double whistle for the substitution. Yes, that's good. Any other thoughts or comments?
Hi. I have a kind of a quick question. It's kind of on, so I'm a coach for a team in Jacksonville, a U10 team. And um, so, and this happened at our last game. Last season, we were told that only one coach was allowed in the technical area, which, by the laws of the game, that's correct. And at the last game, and again, this is from like the coach's perspective, I talked to the referee and told him like, because the other team had two coaches up walking around in the technical area, and even though like the technical area is like half the field for U10, I talked to him about it, and he like went over at halftime, talked to the field manager or whatever, and I guess they allowed it. And I wasn't very happy about it, but it's the refs, decision, so it is what it is. So my question is like, because it's also a U10 game. What is the right call about it? Because ECSA doesn't have anything about more than one coach allowed in the technical area, and I haven't seen anything else in North Carolina for that.
So I
Does
don't
that
want
make
to,
sense?
yeah, and I don't want to sound like I'm punting, but that's gonna be if they're rostered coaches, they could be. I mean, over there, Colin, you haven't heard anything different. What I was gonna say is if they're rostered coaches for a classic game, they can be there, um, but each league might have its own guidance. Colin, do you know of anything different?
That's about what I was gonna say. If it's a like a recreational type of thing, then that would be like your local, whatever the recreational is hosting it, that would be their rules. But if it's a classic game or anything like that, if they're on the roster, they can be there.
No, I understand that. And like my assistant coach, she sits on the bench. She doesn't get up and walk around like I do as the head coach. So the other team, both of the head coach and the assistant coach were up
Walking
walking
around.
around and directing players during the game.
So I would go back to your assigner and ask for clarification for that.
Okay.
And he or she might actually go to that league to ask, okay, what do you expect here? I mean, because really, I mean, if you really get into it, the coach can get up, give the technical information, and is supposed to return to the bench. Every coach.
Okay.
I mean, that's what really is supposed to happen. But I mean, that's not going to happen at youth soccer. So yeah, so I would ask your assigner on that one.
Okay. Yeah, it was just like, what is the right answer for that one? I was just like, I don't know. I can't find anything.
Right, right, and that's why because it is going to be so dependent on the different leagues.
Okay.
What other
All right. Thank you.
questions do we have?
Hey, I have one that happened to me on my last game. I was ARing, ball crossed the goal line, should have been a corner kick, but in clearing it, the action just went up the field really fast, and the RR's just sprinting up the field. What do you do there?
So, and we cover that in our assistant referee class. So let me, first of all, I'm going to put in the chat before I forget a link to a Google Doc for attendance for tonight. And then I'm going to pull up another presentation because I happen to have it up. Um, okay, so let me share my screen. So I have this slide up here. And we know that of these four choices, only D is out of play. So if this happens here, which one of these is actually a goal? It's only D, right? Only D is a goal. Who has to make that call? The assistant referee has to make that call. Now, in my scenario, this is taking place on the goal line. But it could also be taking place on the touchline. Obviously, it's not a goal, but it could go out of bounds. When it is a goal, and maybe it's just like right there, it's just crossed the line, and maybe the goalkeeper grabs it and pushes it out, right? And not even the goalkeeper knows that it's a goal. And the assistant referee turns and runs upfield. The assistant referee knew it was a goal and turned and ran upfield. But it looks like the assistant referee is following play, right? So what has to happen is there needs to be a second part to the normal goal signal or the normal throw-in signal or the normal corner kick signal in your scenario. And what that is the assistant referee stands with the flag straight up in the right hand. That is to get the referee's attention. This is obviously not done for every call, but it's done in the scenario that you just described. Referee blows her whistle to stop the game, and then you indicate corner kick, or then you turn and jog back upfield, or indicate the throw-in. How does that look? Let's see here.
And also for that one in particular, you stand there all day long
Yes.
until they notice it. There's no advantage on an out of bounds scenario.
Right. Where is I have that clip somewhere? Sorry, I'm not prepared for this one. Hang on, here we are. Okay. This is in a goal scenario.
The final 5 minutes plus change as Houston are searching for an equaliser, which they have got. Have they? Flag got up on the far side.
I'm going to pause it right there. You see our assistant referee standing there at attention? Flag straight up.
The referee is looking. He's given it.
Then gives the goal signal.
And Houston are level. 5 minutes to play.
Wonderful intent, and all for Simpson's coming on. It's been a problem to deal with. This on a set piece doesn't cross the line. There's little argument from Jimmy Mara. It's a wonderful flicked on header at the near post into that far end. It did look as though it's just barely gone across the line.
So that could be for a throw-in. Ball passes out in the air and comes back in. Could be. In this case is obviously the most significant because it's a goal. So does that answer it?
Very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. What other questions do we have? Like I said, while I'm waiting for questions too, I'm going to follow up with an email to everybody who fills out that attendance form. It'll say how to connect with your assigner. It'll say how to get your uniforms if you need to. Next steps. And also, I'm going to post this class. If you're interested in watching the video of it, I can send you a link. Just reach out to me. You'll have my contact information.